The 4Runner. I know, this is a Land Cruiser, and it's the older brother to the beast back there. Today I'm here to take you through time. I'm Zach Thompson, and this is the history of the Toyota 4Runner.
For almost 40 years, the Toyota 4Runner has defined an entire class of vehicles. It inspired a new generation of automaking and has paved the way to being one of the greatest vehicles both on and off-road thanks to its long heritage. Let us go back to where it all began. The history of the Land Cruiser begins during World War II. In 1941, Japanese military authorities ordered the recently founded Toyota Motor Corporation to produce a light yet rugged transport vehicle similar to the Willys Jeep. The vehicle needed to handle all types of terrain while maintaining ultimate reliability. A year later, Toyota developed the AK-10 prototype. The AK-10 was an instant success and was used as one of the primary transport vehicles for the Japanese throughout World War II. By 1950, the Korean War had begun, and Toyota had been hard at work in developing a new prototype. Their latest request had come from the United States military, who at the time were occupying Japan. As American forces moved into the Korean peninsula, they required additional heavy-duty vehicles to supplement their existing Jeeps. On August 1st, 1951, Toyota named their prototype the Toyota Jeep BJ. This new vehicle had a complete redesign from the ground up. The chassis was based on the SB Type 1 one-ton truck, which was equipped with softer leaf springs on each axle. This allowed it to navigate the harshest terrain imaginable, allowing more suspension travel and maintaining a softer ride. The Toyota Jeep BJ proved itself when it was able to climb to checkpoint 6 on Mount Fuji, which is higher than any vehicle has ever gone before. Soon after, the Willys Overland Company, who produced the original Willys Jeep, claimed that Toyota had violated the trademark Jeep naming on their vehicle. In 1956, the Toyota Jeep BJ was renamed to the Toyota Land Cruiser, and a legend was born. The Land Cruiser was a hit and began to take hold in the US and other parts of the world. Throughout the 60s and 70s, other auto manufacturers had taken notice of the hot-selling Jeep and Land Cruiser and wanted a piece of the action. They began to produce vehicles such as the Chevy Blazer, Ford Bronco, and the International Scout. While vehicles were marketed and sold alongside the Jeep and the Land Cruiser, manufacturers were still unclear on which class the vehicles fit into. Some manufacturers went as far as marketing their vehicle as a sports car with four-wheel drive, but that was about to change.
So this is it, eh?
G'day, Barry. What do you think?
Bright, isn't it?
It's got some beaut new features. Look at the skills on.
Scotty, let's just hop in and run out to the hut for a brew, eh?
I thought you might ask me that. Be back in a minute.
Oh, spare me days, mate. There's no need for all that. We've got a decent track here now.
Once again, Toyota had been busy. In 1979, Toyota released the Hilux 4x4. The lighter and more compact Hilux was equipped with the same suspension design, gearbox transfer case, and driveline as the legendary Land Cruiser. This ensured that the hardcore workhorse could go just about anywhere. Whether it be sand, snow, or swamps, the Hilux 4x4 was built to be virtually indestructible. And it was. In 1980, Toyota took the design of the Hilux 4x4 even further. The automotive industry was in dire need of more fuel-efficient and compact vehicles due to the oil crisis. Toyota met with Winnebago Industries and established a vehicle development agreement to add more seating and usable cargo space to the Hilux 4x4. A year later, a new prototype emerged, the Toyota Trekker. The design of the Trekker prototype was essentially a Toyota Hilux 4x4 with a new fiberglass bed, canopy, and rear bench seat. In 1981, Toyota literally started a new vehicle class and sold their Trekker as the first sports utility vehicle. By 1984, with the redesign of the Hilux, the Trekker prototype was officially named the Toyota 4Runner. The 4Runner launched with some much-needed changes. The fiberglass bed that was once attached to the cab was now replaced by a much stronger one-piece steel body. This kept the vehicle from flexing in the center, allowing for the addition of a removable top. Modeled after the new Hilux, the 4Runner featured a fresh new look. Not only did the exterior get an overhaul, but the inside did as well. While still resembling the interior of a pickup, the dash received a more modern look, saving the more detailed gauge cluster and altimeter for the SR5 package. For the 1985 model, the 4Runner brought optional fuel injection to the bulletproof 22R, naming it the 22RE. While this engine didn't produce a whole lot of horsepower, it made up for it through fuel economy and reliability. In 1986, the 4Runner underwent a major front suspension change. The solid front axle was replaced by
High track independent front suspension,
or IFS. This brought a smoother ride and a wider track width to the 4Runner, allowing for more stability and better handling. While the new suspension solved complaints about the 4Runner having too rough of a ride, some of its rugged off-road ability had been lost due to the design and limited suspension travel. 1986 also brought the optional but rare 22R TE turbo engine to the 4Runner. This was in an effort to produce more power as other manufacturers were releasing their new SUVs with V6 options. 2 years later, Toyota dropped the turbo option in favor of their new V6, the 3VZE, also known as the 3-point slow, which is arguably the worst Toyota engine ever made. This was due to poor coolant flow in the cylinder heads, poor placement of the crossover pipe, and also using the wrong head gasket material on a bi-material engine starting in 1990. The result was overheating and blown head gaskets.
That's a bad head gasket.
With 1989 being the last year of the first generation 4Runner, many off-road enthusiasts seek out the straight-axled models for their superior off-road abilities. With the 1985 model often referred to as the Holy Grail, it was the last year of the straight-axled 4Runners and the first year of the fuel-injected 22RE.
It's a rare species that thrives like no other. Easily distinguished by unique markings, lean and powerful, adapting quickly to changing environments. It migrates to the snows in winter and has been spotted as far south as Baja. It prefers wide open spaces, primary instinct to care for its young. The Toyota 4Runner, no matter how distant the journey, it always returns home.
In 1990, Toyota launched the all-new and much more refined second-generation 4Runner. While the 4Runner was still built on the Hilux platform, Toyota replaced the removable top with a fully integrated steel body. The 4Runner's two-door design didn't last past 1993, and the new four-door model quickly went on to outselling the original 4Runner as it was marketed as the new family vehicle. The second-gen 4Runner's sharp new look featured a much more rounded body and interior, with comfort and power options being a major focus. The new 4Runner model also kept the rear roll-down window and tailgate from the first generation, but lost the rear leaf spring suspension to a softer coil-sprung rear end. Automatic and manual transmission options were available on the second gen, as well as the bulletproof 22RE. And let's not forget about the ultra-reliable 3VZE. While many had great luck with Toyota's new V6, the amount of people who experienced blown head gaskets even before the 100,000 mile mark had started to stack up. In response to this, Toyota opened a recall to fix the faulty engines, as long as they were under the 100,000 mile mark. A few years later, Toyota revised their recall and stated that they would service the engine indefinitely, but to only replace the head gaskets once. But unfortunately, some 3VZEs continue to blow their head gaskets after being replaced, which to this day has given the second-gen 4Runners a bad rap. The solution for many was to install the bulletproof 22RE or a different engine altogether. While the second-generation 4Runner may not have been everyone's favorite, it's the model that brought the SUV into what we know today. By the mid to late 90s, the SUV market was in full swing, with just about every major auto manufacturer producing SUVs. And in 1996, Toyota unveiled their third-generation 4Runner. The new 4Runner had undergone yet another redesign with an all-new body and chassis, and for the first time, the 4Runner broke from the Hilux and had its own unique platform. Significant changes from the second generation include a longer wheelbase with the larger body, more interior space, and new coilover front suspension. Airbags were now a standard, as the two previous generations had scored low ratings in their crash tests. The third generation 4Runners had also received new engines. The 5VZE V6 was standard, in place of the 3-point slow, while an optional 3RZ 4-cylinder took over for the reliable but underpowered 22RE. Over the next 6 years, the third generation 4Runner had minor updates such as electronic lockers, cosmetic changes to the grille and headlights, and a new vehicle stability control system for the 2001 and 2002 models. While 2002 marked the last year for the third generation 4Runner and the manual transmission option, it's been known as one of the greatest generations of 4Runners due to its unmatched reliability and capability both on and off-road. It's been 17 years since the third generation 4Runner, and since then, Toyota has released 2 new models. With the 4th generation spanning from 2002 to 2009, it brought an even larger and more updated design with the optional 2UZ V8, starting in 2003. The 5th and most recent generation 4Runner was released in 2010. It's received a much more stylish body and more interior features including crawl control. It even received the 1GR V6, which produced more horsepower than the previous generation's V8. Today's 4Runner is rugged and tough, and it's not that different from the template set by the original. Sure, it might have 4 doors, more horsepower and creature comforts, but its off-road spirit lives on thanks to its long heritage.